All right, I'm going to take a few minutes and try to let people come in, and then we will see how we're doing. So I'm putting my free motion foot on, which really does help with this technique. All right, let me cut my threads. Hi, Cheryl Hogan, darling. I am so sorry about that. I don't know why my channel does that sometimes, but that's frustrating. So thank you for finding me again. We'll give people a little chance to find us. But it is so good to see you. And Cheryl went out and voted on Friday. Oh, here comes some people. Yay. Yay. I'm so glad. I thought, what a thing to happen when I'm just getting back. Now, what did I do with that foot? How can you lose a foot you were just messing with? Okay, hopefully it's this one. I'm going to put this foot on real quickly because I'm so excited about showing you how to make these thread vessels. So, hi, Miss Jo and Alberta. Let me see. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. So now what I'll do while everyone is coming in, and if y'all would let people know that that they have the right place, and that I'm going to be showing you how to start these vessels. Okay. Oh, I'm so glad to see you guys. I was worried. I have the solvy in the hoop. I have my feed dogs drop down, and you'll notice the click, and that's the little foot that's hopping up and down. The hardest thing I have to make this process work is coordinating the speed of the stitching with my hands. I tend to, when I hear the fast speed, I tend to speed up on my sewing, but you don't want that. You want, and just for those of you who might not know what we're doing, we're making these art baskets or thread vessels. And Miss Polly came and showed me how to do this, and I'm thrilled. And so I've dropped my feed dogs. I have the water soluble stabilizer in this. I have the walking foot, which is incredibly important. I was telling them before I realized I had no chat, Miss Polly, that I wasn't the easiest student. Miss Polly kept quietly saying, I think it would help if you had the walking foot on there, because the fact that it bounces up and down means it doesn't stick to the solvy. Because the solvy is a little tacky, if you try to use a regular foot, even with the feed dogs dropped, if you try to use a regular foot, it will stick and pull and start to tear. And ask me how I know, because until I finally realized Miss Polly is trying to tell you how to do this, and you need to do it the way she says. So sometimes my hands get sore, so I will turn and start going the other way. And Polly told me, and she's right, making a bunch of little circles is probably the best plan to do this. So now that it looks like we have a good number of people in, I'm going to go ahead and put this aside and go back to the beginning with this process. And then we'll come back and do more of this later. But one thing you have to know is the threads really need to cross over each other. because once that's dissolved, if your threads don't cross over and over and over, they'll fall apart. Because what you're actually doing is you're making a vessel with only threads. So you've got to make a spider's web full of stitches. So Miss Polly came over and oh, her stuff is so pretty. I will show you pictures of that today. And let me grab my um, my notes so I can make sure to tell you everything. I've really missed y'all, really missed y'all. And just to tell you right away, I voted. Here is my voting sticker. I'm very proud that I voted. And I'm going to put it right here on my sewing machine like I did last time I voted. And all I ask is that you find the truth and you vote. And I will be very, very happy. Everybody will be happy. Your vote counts more than ever. So please get the facts, get the knowledge, and vote. We went online and printed out a sample ballot so we knew exactly what was happening. In North Carolina, our legislature, who's kind of pulling some sneaky things, tried to rewrite what the rules were to vote. Well, we already have those rules, but we ended up finding a little sneaky thing in it where in the rules that are written in the state constitution right now, all native born and naturalized U.S. citizens can vote in the election. Well, the new thing they wrote doesn't mention naturalized. Well, you know what? That's pretty crappy because Mark is a naturalized citizen. And if we hadn't have read that, it looks like, oh, it's just saying normal things, but they're sneaky. So you can also probably download a sample ballot, look up the people, look up their party, tell you a lot about what their beliefs are. Make sure that the things that mean something to you are the things you actually vote for. And I'm learning. For years, I was more excited about voting nationally and didn't do my due diligence with the local elections. I've learned my lesson because they're showing us all around that these states are doing things that the majority don't agree with. So we got to get in there and get focused on who we're putting in every single office. It matters. All right, enough of voting 101. I get excited. I'm so glad it's done. We had early voting. We did early voting in person, making sure it counts. So, okay. So now let me see. So Mark was gone and he just got back last Sunday. And I was supposed to do a Sunday show. And I apologize for not getting a show done. Hi. Oh my gosh, we've got some great people here. I'm gonna read off who's here in just a moment. But when Mark was gone, the first day or two, I was really enjoying myself. But I tend to have anxiety, and I didn't realize that being here alone, I guess, I don't know, for whatever reason, I wasn't aware of it in a strong way, but I started having problems falling asleep. I had a couple activities I had to do that weekend. I don't know about y'all, but when I know I have to get up by a certain time, the night before, my sleeping is affected. And so I started falling asleep between 4:30, sometimes as late as 5:30 in the morning. Well, the problem is I have 3 dogs and they need to get up at least by 8 to go out and go potty. Then they come back to bed, and then around 9, they're used to having their breakfast. So they want to get up and go have breakfast. Well, if you only go to sleep between 4:30 and 5:30 or 3:30 even, that means you're not getting much sleep at all. And you can always take little naps during the day, but you're not getting that deep restorative sleep. So I didn't realize how bad it bothered me, but it was making me ill. And then last Sunday, I was trying to get ready for the show and I got this headache that was just it. And I knew it was coming. I could feel the band. And you think, oh, sleep, whatever. I'm retired. I can catch up on sleep. Be careful with your sleep, people. I'm finding it messes me up more than ever. When I was younger, I could go all night without sleeping and still do, carry on pretty good that day. I can't anymore. So, I'm sorry about last week. I had to cancel it. I was feeling so ill. And so once I canceled the show and I went back to bed for a while. So Mark got home safely. He had a wonderful time at the beach. I'll see if I can show you some of his pictures and movies. And oh gosh, I don't know if I actually put them in the right folder, but I'll see what I can find. But if I can't show them to you this week, I'll show you next week. He loves sending me he loves sending me sunset pictures. But it was so good for him to go on that trip because it was so good for him to go on that trip because it gives him a nice break that he needs. I just wanted to show you. My daughter just sent this. This is my daughter, Becky, and that is her wonderful man, Andy Foster, and then her two children. So I'm not sure what they went to, but it looks like they were having fun. So I'm so happy for them. And they're just wonderful. They have got their own house. Oh, they went to the state fair. That's them at the state fair. Well, what fun. And how wonderful they did that because they just moved into their house together and they've been busy unpacking. So what fun. That was great. All right. So I wanted to tell y'all too, the day before, on Saturday before last week, I thought maybe I need to go to a movie because that's one of the things I do to take care of myself. And I went to see a movie with Saoirse Ronan, and she's Irish and she's just a really neat actress. And I think it was called The Outrun or something like that. I kept falling asleep in the movie. Luckily, I was the only person there. I went to the morning movie and I was the only one in the theater at that point. But I kept falling asleep. I thought, I spend all this money to come to the movies and I'm falling asleep. I could not stay awake to save me. So I apologize to Miss Ronan. It was a wonderful movie and I'm going to see it again. All right. So I just wanted to give y'all a little, and then be careful when you're sleep deprived. Like I told you, I tend to suffer from anxieties and depression. And when you are sleep deprived, that depression will sneak back in. And especially right now with all this election stuff, are we done? Are we done? With all this election stuff and everything, it really, it will play a number on you. And so I had a rough week, but I'm back and feeling so much better. And Mark was really, he said I was trying so hard to understand, Deb. I was really trying. So I want to thank him for that. All right. So let's see. I did a little progress this week on the bobbin lace. I was moving along thinking I was doing it right. And all of a sudden looked at it real close and realized it doesn't look like the picture. So I undid. Be prepared when you're learning how to do bobbin lace that you're going to undo a lot. It's like you don't use a seam ripper, but you spend just as much time as you do knitting, crocheting, or quilting at unripping stuff. But I'm still loving it. And what I need to do is put myself in a quiet room and do nothing but pay attention to the directions she says. So I'm going to do that, but I'm still loving it. I haven't worked on my Italian floor quilt at all, at all. But this week, I promised myself I'm taking time for me, especially since I can't stay awake for a movie, but I'm going to work on that stone tile quilt. I really want to get a lot more done on it because in 3 weeks, I have my first retreat of the season. And I'm so excited. It's going to be a Monday through Saturday. And it's down in Denton, not far from here, a lovely, quiet, peaceful place. And I am going to enjoy, really try to take that time just for me. I haven't had a retreat or getaway since early last March. And it was a busy summer with getting married and all of that. And I haven't had a vacation. I know I went with my whole family to that lake house, but that's not my kind of idea of a vacation where you just totally relax. It was a busy time. So I'm looking forward to the retreat. As usual, I would take pictures of the retreat and of the big, because we're going to have like 36 people, 34, I forget exactly, but somewhere like that. We're having the big show and tell. So I'll make sure to take pictures of all the show and tell quilts for you. Okay? All right. But I will work on the Italian floor quilt this week because I'm so excited to work on that. And I have to be able to make sure that I know how to do the paper piece patterns when they don't give them to you separate. They just give it as this big entity and you kind of got to figure it out yourself. So I've got to let y'all know that, and I'll make notes of everything. All right. Now, my Undersea quilt. I think I left it upstairs. I don't see it in this basket. But that's my old one back there. But remember I told you I was having a problem with the slumps. How do I get over not wanting to do this Undersea quilt? Because I've promised it to y'all and I'm dragging it out because I just can't get excited about it. And my creativity is being affected right now. I could, if you tell me to sew A to B to C, I can do that. But it's like, So I find myself, wanting to work on crochet or whatever. And see, crochet for me is kind of mindless. And I understand that that's what I'm trying to do. It's a little bit of escapism. So, in fact, I don't even want to think about Christmas right now. Oh my gosh. I haven't, normally by this time of year, I've got things planned. I'm not planning on anything. I've already done one. Yeah, I'm thinking it's a little bit that I've been there and done that. Now, I chose my fabrics for my octopus. I've kind of hinted that the octopus is going to be my star. The whale was my star in that one. He's right there. And this time it's going to be an octopus like our Miss Jody did that I just fell in love with. And so I'm going to tell you more about that too. But I talked to you about the slump I was feeling. And I said, I'm going to sketch out what I'm going to have on the quilt. That did help me. I had to have more direction, more hand holding of my own quilt. And so I sat down and planned it. Hi, Miss Pat. You've had the blahs too. See, Polly has had it. Who else was saying they had the blahs? A lot of people have. It's just like, it's like pulling teeth right now. Hi, Mary. So good to see you. Oh, thank you. Yes, please. In fact, guess what, guys? I went ahead and monetized. I thought I've been doing this for 6 years. I've got over 570 videos. And I thought, see what happens. What the heck? So I do apologize if you have to kind of go through a commercial or anything, but I thought, Mark's getting ready to retire. So what the heck? Let's monetize this puppy. So anyway, but oh, and I know that Jody's got a new, oh, good job for you. Oh, Oh, it was Joe. Yeah, she's gotten inspired to finish Millie's dresses quilt. Oh, oh, wow. Which broke open the dam. Good. Because it's hard feeling like that. I know one thing, I'm getting more excited now. The weather's cooling off. It was a hard summer, hot and humid. But let me go ahead. I was talking about, I'll come back and talk about the Undersea quilt and what I've been doing on it. But let me see who's here because I'm really anxious to say hi to y'all. Okay. Now, it's funny. If I miss a week, I feel a little discombobbled when I come back. So we've got Cheryl. So happy to see Cheryl. And Alberta, the one who's been making these wonderful baby quilts that we've been enjoying. And then Joe and Jody and let me see, Elaine from Scotland. So, whoa. And Polly's here. She was such a patient teacher. I have to apologize. I am a bad student. I apologize. But she was wonderful and patient as the day is long. So, and boy, you should see her amazing thread vessels. I've got pictures and I'll show you. Bonnie is back. Yay, Miss Bonnie. And Mary. Now, is this our monkey Mary? Maybe this is. But yes, and the fact that she said it, if you will subscribe and hit like, it would help me do better with the monetization. Who knows? Okay, so I've never done it, and this will be new. Ah. Yeah, I was just doing some sewing on the thread vessels until everyone got back over. I don't know why the live chat wasn't showing up. So, okay. Let's see. Oh, it's so good. Charlene Lawson is here. How are you, Charlene? I tried writing you an email to see how you made it through Helene and Milton, whatever that weird name was. But no, here's Monkey Mary. So Mary Kimura. Oh, maybe it was Monkey Mary. No, Mary Kimura must be different from Monkey Mary. Wow. Yeah, isn't it awful that as we get older and we have time to sleep, often we can't. So Mary Kimura got that beautiful word benign. Oh, good job, Mary. Good job. Oh, wow. Good job, Mary. We're so tickled. Oh, good. Good, Mary. That is great, great news. I know you are a happy girl. I tell you, several of us have had health issues the last couple of years, and it can scare you to pieces. So, oh, it's so good to hear all of that. So good to see Bonnie. Betty Meisner's here. Isn't benign a beautiful word? Oh, yeah. And Crafty Pat is here. Marcia. Marcia's here. Yes, I missed my Marcia. She was probably like, where is Deb? So, oh, it's so good to see all of you. Yeah, Mary, you and I share a lot with that depression that kind of sneaks in. I was telling Mark, as excited as I am about the cold temperatures, I realize how many things that I want to get done before winter kicks in. So, oh, we'll figure it out. I guess just, take one bite at a time. But a whale of a quilt, Marcia. Thank you. That's so cute. So cute. I'm so excited that Jody has another part-time job. She is just doing beautifully, thriving. Lisa's here. Hi, Miss Lisa. Oops, I missed a few people. I think it jumped. Hold on. Oh, gosh, it's so good to see all of you. I missed you. Barbara Smith. How good to see our Barbara Smith. We've missed you. So this is wonderful. I've got to see Jody's latest. Um, video. Don't forget, Quilt Squirrel has her own channel, and I love it. I was noticing your subscriber numbers are way up, Miss Jody. Way to go. Oh my gosh, we've got our friend Svetlana from Ukraine is here. Oh, Lisa, Svetlana is here. Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, now did I get everybody? I'm so excited. And we love it because Miss Lisa is so smart that she knows how to speak to Svetlana. Isn't that amazing in Ukraine? So, oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Y'all are the best. Okay, I think I've caught up with everyone. Um, okay, here we go. I'm going to write my email address so that if anyone wants to send pictures to share for our show and tell, or if you'd like to join our free chat group, Quilts.io chat group, you can. And just make sure that everyone feels welcome. Pull up a chair, grab a chocolate candy bar, and or a cup of coffee, whatever you like, and come in, get comfortable with us. All right, so what the main thing, so I think I've talked a lot about I'll go back to the Undersea quilt. And the Undersea quilt, landscape quilt, I was going to tell you, the octopus is going to be center stage. So what I'm going to try to do is this octopus eye is very, very important. Oh, there goes our Lisa. I love that she can talk to Svetlana. I love, love, love that. You just don't know. So, I wish I could. That is so amazing. So, I'm going to use that triple thick acrylic sealer. I'm going to use paints and ink tints, pencils. I'm going to try to have that eye be so realistic. Now, you can always, look at that beautiful language. You can always go buy a resin eye that an artist has done, but I want to see what I can do with fabric and multimedia. And then what really makes it work is to put the shine on it, the gloss on it with the triple thick. So I'm going to do it, show you, see what you think. Now, I went back, I took a watered down acrylic mixed in with fabric medium, and I repainted that quilt background because it was just a little pale. The neatest thing is that mixing it with the textile medium and a thin acrylic gave it a slightly milky look, which really improves the look that you're underwater. And I drew in some scenery. I drew in kind of perimeters of where I'm going to do things, drew in some seaweed, getting it all ready, because I realize before I add my applique fish and seahorses and sea turtles and even my octopus and even all my little plants on the reef, I need to have it quilted, because you don't want to quilt over all of this. And it's going to be murder to try to quilt over all of that. So I took it upstairs because I want to go ahead and quilt it. Now, I'm not going to worry that much about quilting. I'm going to do curvy lines just to give the feeling of being in the water. And then I will put my appliques wherever I want on there. And that brings up two issues. One issue is if I want to sew my appliques on by machine it's going to make the back of the quilt look a little wonky. Well, then you know what I can do? Use muslin, use a fake back, okay, to be able to get the quilting done. And then if you wanted to put a prettier back on later, although to enter it in the show, you've got to have the quilting that they can see. So I have a feeling this quilt's going to be for me. I'm just going to wing it and see what happens. I pretty much doubt I'll ever enter another quilt in a show, because have you been seeing the amazing quilts that have been put in shows? I don't know if my nerves could handle that. So anyway, okay. So I think now, let me make sure I talked about all of that, about how I can do the eyes. And then, oh, I know what. Um, Here I did some more work on my confetti quilt. So I tell you what, Miss Joni sent me a picture of her confetti quilt. Miss Debbie sent me a picture of hers. I realized I've got to up my game. So here is, I've started to do a little bit of thread painting and thread sketching, but then I went and you started using my fabric markers. And since they were doing so many amazing things, I added some squirrels. I added some pumpkins and a bale of straw, because all of a sudden I went, they had better ideas. I'm copying them. So I love it when y'all teach me, when y'all make me push my parameters. And that tree looks odd. It's a little bit crunchy, but oh well. But then, okay, so I used that powder, the fusible powder, and I used confetti pieces. And because I had looked in my trash can from the scraps working on my color wash Roland style quilt. And I saw the trash can just was such a pretty fall color with all the yellows and oranges I had been working with. So then I came and drew a quick tree, and that tree does look weird now that I'm looking at it this way. Oh well, it's gnarly. I'll just say that and leave it be. But so I came and used the fusible powder, which, let me show you some of that. I got it from a Ben Franklin's some years ago. It's called Bo Nash Fuse It Powder. Okay. Bonds fabric together instantly. So I used that. You can always put a sheet of iron-on fusible on the background, drop the confetti on it, cover it with a safe pressing sheet, and do it that way. But I used the fusible powder. Then I came in and added tulle over it. See the tulle? You can see that netting, Tulle, tulle. And then after I did that, I used my invisible thread. My favorite is from Superior Threads. It's called Monopoly. Really good stuff. Use a lightweight thread in your bobbin. It works like a charm. And so I sewed all the way around the edge, cut off the excess tulle. And then the one thing I didn't like is it kind of dulled down the colors a little bit. So I came back with tacky glue and I got some leaf color shapes and tacky glued them on top of the tulle. And I like it because it gives spots of bright color. Let me bring my lamp around here. Yeah, that's better. And then I said, well, I had the day that I was doing this, I had only put a few leaves, right here. So I had to extend my leaves out. And then I said, oh, let's have some leaves falling. Now I'd like to add a bird or so. But then I just cut the pumpkins out of some scraps and I fused them on I fused all of these extra leaves on, and so pretty much that is that. And so if I think I'll just quilt it, and then I've got a little fall wall hanging. But it was a chance to do a technique, which the confetti quilt is just, it's wonderful. Now, some of you might be smart enough that you go, wait a minute, what tree has yellow, orange, and red leaves all at one time? That doesn't make biological sense. Well, this is my quilt, and I can do what I want. I wanted all the colors, and I didn't want to have to do multiple trees. So this is done except for the quilting of it. I started doing a little bit of thread sketching over here. Then I used the fabric markers. So I'll decide if I want to do more or not. It might just be okay, I did that, and let it go. It's probably not going to be a profound work of art. So I wanted to show you that. Okay. Um, and what I did, as you stitch around the edge with what I preferred was the invisible thread. And then I would do some stitching around in between. The one thing I didn't want to have happen is the fusible at some point, or fusible powder to relax or whatever, and everything fall to the bottom of the tool, because it forms like a pocket. So I just kind of went, and that way it gives a little definition and leaf-like look to the tree. But I cut off everything I didn't need, because that tool does dull it down just a touch. So you might want to try different colors of tulle. Maybe not a bright white, maybe a softer or ecru color, maybe a light gray. So try different ones and see which has the best look. Oh, I love the idea of a Snoopy under there. How cool would that be? A tree for the great pumpkin. Oh, I love that. Well, I've got to admit, others did the pumpkins first, and I went, oh, that is cute. Then I thought, well, I don't want to just copy them, so I added a couple squirrels. Yeah, I did it for Jody. That's it. I did it for Jody. All right. So now I think, except for, oh, no, I do have a couple other things, because I'm very excited about getting to this thread vessel making. But I wanted to show you that my Mark did some shell hunting on the beach when he was away. And I love these. And what I'd like to do is, he has a little tiny Dremel drill, and drill holes in some of these and put them on my Undersea art quilt. I think that would be cool. The other thing I have to show you is, I said recently I had, there was a thread sale at Joann's. And so I spent about $50, and I wanted to show you what I got. Okay, all thread, just thread. So I ended up getting 2 black spools. Now I use dual duty. And some of you, isn't it Coates and Clark? Dual duty. And Coates and Clark. And I've always used this thread. When I was growing up, that's what we used, was Coates and Clark. That was considered the good thread. Now there's so many designer threads. Oh my goodness. But I just wanted to show you. Normally I get a couple blacks, then I get a couple whites, and then a couple off-whites, or ecru, whatever you want to call it. Let me make sure you can see it. Then the rest, I get this called New Gray. It's a perfect medium gray, not too dark, not too light. And because in the past, I would make a point to get dark gray, I hardly used this dark gray. So this is the color. Now this time I spent a little more money and I got the Dual Duty XP. It's just a nicer thread. It is, here are the old, we called them like general purpose, and you can just see it's got like a dusty look to it. This has been mercerized, which means they run it past a flame that kind of burns off the little wispies. But it's also just a stronger, better quality thread. So I try not to buy the all-purpose anymore. So I ended up getting one. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 of the grays, and then cream, white, black. And that will last me for about the year because I've got some still down here. Then I bought a Coates and Clark, and this one is considered a bobbin thread, okay, or what sometimes they call bottom weight. And you can see the little thread under the plastic, and it's a little finer. It's a 60 weight instead of a 35. Actually, no, this is 70 weight. So that's even, the higher the number, the thinner the thread. And these, I believe, these I think are 35 weight. Maybe they're, I don't know, 45. But pardon me. I was telling you that if you want to sew with metallic thread, put a bobbin weight in your bobbin. If you want to do a lot of thread painting, a bobbin weight is really good. It helps any difficult thread work better in your machine. And if you're doing miniature quilts, then definitely use a bobbin thread. All right, so this is what I got, and this amount was like $53. Okay. So what bobbin thread did you use? So, and then a bobbin thread like this, any of the YLI makes them, Superior makes them, all of the companies make them. And they are really, really good for metallics. They're good for using rayons, anything that might give your sewing machine a little trouble. So thank goodness for those. Okay, so now I showed you that. That's the only thing I've bought lately. So now Miss Polly came over and she said that she had looked on YouTube how to make art thread vessels. And she had a couple gorgeous baskets and then a round thing that she's going to leave round. And so while she was here, I made this vessel, this small one. Now, the Solvay is not cheap. Her Solvay is just a water soluble stabilizer that you put in the ring, and see this right here? And it's really weird. Like if you wet your fingers and touch it and just kind of rub it, it just melts away. It's really interesting. So don't have any water on any surface while you're working with this. Hers looked a little milky, more milky like, but it worked beautifully. So this I got from a seamstress yard sale or something very cheaply. Thank goodness, because it can be a little expensive. But I made this and we put it in a hoop. So that's why I've got the hoop. You put it in a hoop tightly. You lay it down so that the material runs along the sewing bed. Okay. Now don't put, so the fabric's up here. The soluble fabric has to be on the underneath. So after you loop it up, put it under the presser foot so that the Solvay touches the machine bed. Luckily, I had bought what's called a Sew Steady. It is a wonderful very smooth, very silky mat that has an opening right here for your bobbin and your thread area, but it just helps all it helps you moving this round and around. Now you drop your feed dogs if you can. You put on and a let me find another one. You put on a free motion foot, or some people call them hopping foots, for hopping feet. And this usually goes above your needle screw so that as your machine goes up and down, the hopping foot does too. That makes a big difference, because if you try to do this with just a regular foot, it tends to cause drag, sticks to the solvable stabilizer. And it's already put away, but you should see the one I first tried doing. I didn't have the free motion foot on, and it was a mess. It was catching and it was bunching, and Polly calmly said, Deb, I think a free motion foot or a hopping foot would really do a better job. So, and I did drop my feed dogs, and it's really tricky because it makes a better stitch when you sew faster, when you push your foot on the pedal faster, but you have to move the hoop with the solvy in it. And that was tricky to get that. So use a sample or whatever. Expect there's going to be a learning curve of being comfortable moving the solving. But so I'm going to start working on it again, and I'm going to tell you how do you get to this point, because it's pretty good. Now, this one is the one I did yesterday, and I really enjoyed doing it. It's got beads, it's got all different kinds of decorative ribbons. Oh, one more thing. When I first made this with Miss Polly, see down inside, I used light gray thread in my bobbin. Well, guess what? Then when this comes out, you see all that light gray in there. So I took a fabric marker and I colored it. But use a color, it's going to show. Use the same color on the bobbin and on the top, unless you want it to look very different. This one, I washed a little too much of the solvy out, okay? And so what I did today, this bottom was real soft. Now, if you do that and wash too much of the solvy out, it'll be too soft. What I would suggest then is to take fabric stiffener, take an acrylic spray or acrylic sealer brush on, and brush it on to stiffen this up. Because I did a little bit of spray on the bottom, but I'm going to do more all around the sides, because this is much stiffer, much easier than this one. This, I kind of just scrubbed a little too much. And I'll show you, you just dip, once this is done, you dip it in water, and you only want to wash out about a half of it. Remember how I did the butterflies on the solvy, and I only washed out about half. It feels slimy when you're washing it out. It doesn't take much at all to get it to dissolve and for you to have the amount you want. And what I did is I had a cup upstairs, and once you wash out only half, then you drape it over and let it dry, and it'll kind of do these nice little pleats. So this one, I'm going to have to go and spray sealer on it, which will stiffen it up. And I'm going to do that instead of brushing on, because brushing it would be a real pain. So if you have a spray sealer, if not, you could even take glue and water and stiffen it with white glue and water, or fabric stiffener, or liquid starch that you brush on, whatever makes you happy. But anyway, here is my next one. And with this, you can see I kind of sectioned it off with a marker, permanent marker on the solving. So I kind of had a grid that reminded me um, how to, if I wanted to make sure that I had my trims on there pretty equidistant. So I'm going to do a little bit of this, then we'll do show and tell, and then I'll finish the rest. But I'm going to bring you back down because this was fun. Also, I tend to get very bored. I'm sorry, but I'm kind of childlike in that way. So making these little loopies gets a little boring. Let me see if I can maybe zoom you in. Doing these little loopies gets a little boring. So now I have a little tear. Whoops, let me see if I can show it to you. I have a little tear right there. If you wanted to fix that tear, let me show you how to do it, because you don't want to waste this. In fact, this is a product that I would probably use an invisible thread, sew pieces together to use it, because you're going to what was I going to say? You're going to rinse it away anyway. But here's a little tear in the fabric. So what I'm going to do is I cut off a little extra of this fabric. Then I'm going to just take and just wet the edges a little. Just the edges, not see how it wants to curl. Then lay it over the tear like this. And then let that stickiness, it'll kind of stick it in place like that. And over here, let me just put a little more sticky, little more water, just wet it a little, and there you have a repair. There's the repair right there. Whoops. I'm trying to show it to you, but it's tricky. But there's the repair. It's that easy. You know what? You could even take a little paintbrush and water and put all the scraps together with water, let it dry, and then use it as a sheet. All right, so now I've got my presser foots down. Let me see if I can get you in slightly different way. Let's see. Oh, don't want to make you ill. Well, let me see. Whoops, let me see if I can get this microphone out of the way. I'm trying to do it in a way that's a little tricky for the camera setup. Well, okay. Oops. I think I'm trying to just be too careful. There, let's just try this. All right. Whoops, let me fix that. Okay. Here we go. All right, so the presser foot's down. Now I'm just going to hold the edges of the frame, and I'm going to start to push down on the foot pedal. And I'm sorry it's so loud. That is the walking foot hitting. Normally, if you do a walking foot on a thick fabric, it doesn't hit so hard. But you just make a bunch of little circles. Whoops. Well, just broke my needle because, Well, this must have been an inexpensive presser foot because it just let go. Hold on a second. It right where this everything is hooked in. Be careful that you don't pay $2 for a presser foot. I'm sure I must have gotten this. You know, I love a deal. Well, some deals aren't the best. Okay. Well, let me show you what ended up happening. What ended up, I don't know what happened. This spun around. Oh, something on it did break because, let me see. Yeah, it's supposed to kind of hold in place. Oh, there's a hole right there. Let me pull out the other one that I was using. Hold on a second. I have a couple of these. Oh, there's supposed to be a bar right here. I wonder where that bar went. Okay, see right here? This bar keeps it in the right place. The bar is missing. The hole is right there, but then that allows this to happen. So, I wonder, well, it didn't go in there. Well, I will try to put this one on. Oops, my camera, hold on, my camera's come unplugged too. Okay. Here we go. All right. So now let me put this new foot on. I'm wondering where that bar went. Maybe it was never there, but I would think. Okay. So you have to have that bar in place. All right. Put this on. I'm going to drop this down. Like this. Okay. Then I'm going to have to change my needle. Let me tighten this again. Okay, now got to change that needle. Oh, here's the bar. I thought it was the needle. Here's the bar that came out of that. But I'm not going to try that again. You don't want, you want never to break a needle in your machine, because honest to goodness, it's very tricky. You could throw the timing off. You could hurt your machine. So that, I'm not even going to use that one again. I'm going to consider that one defective. All right, so that foot is going in the trash. I will never use that one again. I'll buy another one and spend maybe more than $3 on it. All right. So now I've got this in. It's secure. Let me... Okay. I have big hands, so it's a little tricky working in and around all this. All right. Here we go. Now let's try that again. And here we were. Okay. Whoops, I've got to get it to go a little bit faster. And just doing lots And by doing a bunch of little circles, you also will have the basket will hold the stiffness better, because you're kind of having to build up your own mesh, your fabric, so to speak. Here's the place that I did that repair. And as you see, you can just go right over it. So now that tells me, I think that'll be the way that I put my scraps together to form a sheet. Now I find I was kind of doing it on the opposite side, but I find I like it better. I like it better when I do it so it's facing me. So as I move my hands, I just turn the hoop. Whoops, slow down. If you move the hoop too fast, your stitches are awfully big. And they're just a little too loosey-goosey that way. But make sure you don't have anything in the way on the desk that's going to keep the hoop from moving good. All right. So now, I don't want you to have to sit and watch this forever. So I'm going to get ready and show you how to put the decorations on it. This gets a little bit boring. Sometimes I have to turn and go the other way. And if you see a big area that doesn't have thread in it, go do a bunch of little circles around it again. Every once in a while it'll get a little hung up. Usually you can just yank on it a little bit. This is when it's really good to listen to a good audiobook, or you got to keep your eyes on it so you can't watch your favorite TV show. And where I see open space, I will just do a few tight circles. Now it does use a lot of bobbin thread, so make sure, depending on the size you're going to do, make sure you've got 1 or 2 bobbins with the matching thread in the machine. Now this side that you're looking at, that's going to be your front. The part you're not seeing while you're doing this, that's the back. So that'll help you remember where to add the ribbons and beading, whatever you want to add to it. And I like to add something around the edge to kind of help emphasize a stiff edge for the vessel. But take your time to look and make sure it's pretty evenly covered. And by overlapping your little circles, every time you go around, you'll make sure you've got them covered enough. They have to have crossed over enough that when you rinse away the soluble, you've got plenty of support for the vessel. All right, let me see. I see. Sometimes I felt it pulling funny. I'm like, what is it doing? Over here, sometimes it'll catch on a piece of the thread. See, now it's moving freely, but sometimes this little foot will go right under a piece of the thread and get caught. So if that happens, just look to see where it is and cut it. Okay. This is actually working out pretty good. So if y'all will be patient with me just a little bit longer, I'm going to show you how to start adding all of decorations, the ribbons and the yarns. And I think I'm going to be able to do this. So give me just a couple minutes. Now, one thing Polly did was took a permanent marker and drew the circle, the size she wanted her vessel to be. And that way you can make sure it's really a circle and that it's pretty even. And I haven't done that, although I told you, whoop, my thread broke. I told you that I drew a grid in permanent marker that divided it up into like 8 sections. And that way I made sure to keep it pretty even. All right, let me thread this again because I'm just about ready to show you how to put on, because what really makes it shine, the thread's a good base, but we want to add bling to it. That's what's going to make it really fun. Okay, and I'll show you some of the things that I have. I brought, this is going to be my blue. So I've got a red pot, I've got an orange pot, and then here are different kinds of beads in a pale blue, white, and in a very dark blue, somewhere in the middle. So here are some beads, but I sew those on by hand. I'm not good enough to do them by machine. Here's some wonderful eyelash yarn. Here's pretty blue lace. That might be pretty on that. Some more yarns. Here is silk thread twist from Sari Thread, India. And then I love this kind of stuff. This is really like a little ladder yarn. And then I even have some of this. I don't know what I bought this to do with it. I don't like it for anything else, but I think it might be cool on here. Then when here is, got some more of this. That'll probably be perfect around the top edge. And then last year or 2 years ago when I was working on the Alex Anderson hand embroidery, I saved all of these threads and scraps because this was a polyester dupioni, and I'm going to use some of this in this as well, as along with a few little cut scraps. And here's a dark blue, that's neat, and some dark blue thread. So this is where, you can just let your creativity run. This is caught up here, so I just nip it and take it out. Okay, so anyway, maybe I'll use that. All right, so I think, but this polyester dupioni is so easy to take and pull threads from. It just unravels very easily. So have some of that. All right. So let me just go around just a touch and come back. Take care, Bonnie, hon. All right, here we go. Yep, got it threaded. And oops, I probably should double check that I've got bobbin. Don't think I do. Well, let's go do show and tell while I wind a bobbin here. Oh, wait a minute. No, there was a little bit. It doesn't look like enough. Now with this thing, this is re-stickable, and I do believe that you can like rinse it off and make it stick more again. Whoops, okay. Looks like, okay, let me cut this. There is enough bobbin thread on here to keep working, but it looks like it's a little caught somewhere. So. All right. All right. Oh, it's so funny too. Now what did I just do with my little? Oh, this is what always happens. I'm so used to putting this on here, it sticks to the sticky underside. So just if you use one of these sheets, just be careful where you put things because it will stick on the sheet and then you're looking forever. Okay, get this back under. I'm going to do just a little touch more. Okay. Oops, let me get that baggie out of the way. Get that paper towel out of the way. All right. Press her foot down. And you just want to make sure, especially if you haven't drawn the circle with the permanent marker, and you have to use a permanent marker. If you try to use a water-based marker, it will just melt the fabric. So you can use a permanent marker, draw a line, and that will wash away with the soluble fabric. But don't use like a Crayola water-based marker, or you will have plenty of holes in your soluble. Go back around here a little bit more because I want to start adding the yarns and the ribbons. Okay. I'm going to go back in a little bit. I was noticing some of these areas weren't quite thick enough. But if you're like me, you get kind of bored doing all these tiny little circles. And it works much better when you slow your hands down, keep up the speed. So depending on the width of your hoop is how big of a vessel you will get. So unless you have a really, really big hoop, you're not going to get a large vessel. So now what I'm going to do is just take a piece of this sari thread, put it underneath like this, and I'm going to see if I'm going to try to do a not too big of a zigzag, maybe 3.6, and then couch down this sari thread on top of this. Okay. And this you just kind of have to eyeball. Oops, you know what? I think I am out of bobbin. All right, I will wind a new bobbin thread while we do show and tell. All right. Where was that bobbin? Oh, there we go. Well, that was real easy. I had a blue bobbin. All right, so I'll put this in as soon as we're done with show and tell. Okay. All right. Let me turn, whoops. I've been moving this poor camera around so much, it's feeling a little punchy here. All right. Let me turn off this light. Okay, here we go. Let's bring up the photos. And I got some new ones in, so I'm really, really excited. All right, now, viewer photos. And show and tell. Here we go. Here we what did I have here? Oh, okay. No, this is not. No, these are not new ones. Okay. Back to show and tell. Alberta. Here, this is her latest baby quilt. I love that. Very, very sweet. And I love the colors. It reminds me of quilts from the 50s. Isn't that pretty? Very delicate. Then look at what she did. This was a group project that I started 4 years ago, maybe. And she finished it. And I love the square and the square along the borders. What a great, that really catches your eye. And she really did an outstanding job. And it was just a block I had seen somewhere. I forget, I think it was on Pinterest. And I just loved the taupe color with the string pieces. And so it's just one little block. And depending on how you line it up is how it will finish. She did an outstanding job with this. I'm so impressed. Very, very good. So thank you, Miss Alberta. Now, let's see where we're going. Miss B sent us this. This will probably be our last time seeing this lovely, lovely postcard she made. But oops, this came out again. Hold on. I don't know why it keeps coming out. There we go. Now, all right, this is Miss B's wonderful postcard she made for a friend. Lovely. Okay. Now, I don't think I have I think, yeah. Miss, this is right. This is Betty Meisner's. And she had been working on this wonderful heart quilt recently, which is really pretty. And now she's got a few more. This is her original art fish that she made. She's even got another one. Look at her wonderful, wonderful morning glories. She's just such a good gardener. I love her work. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I see all kinds of flowers and plants back there. Look at this. I started to say she's amazing with dahlias and hollyhocks, and here comes a hollyhock. Isn't that gorgeous? Gardening used to be my bestest hobby. But isn't that wonderful? Oh, look at that hollyhock. That is beautiful. And here is her latest fish. How cute is that? And what I love, I have got so much still to learn and practice doing this, is she uses the fabrics to duplicate, like here, to duplicate the scales, to duplicate the fins. Look at butterfly wings for this fin down here. But look at this tail. Isn't that gorgeous? She really looks to see what fabric is best going to fit that beautiful fish. So I'm really, really impressed with Miss Betty's work. Oh, I love this more. I love the Grinch. She's my all-time favorite. Thank you, Miss Betty. Those were wonderful. And then Miss Bonnie. And we know that Miss Bonnie's been so busy. This is a wonderful tote that she repurposed. And I have a feeling it had like an ad or something on it before. And she turned it into a tote that's appropriate for her reenactment group. And I'm just very impressed with how she does that. Very talented lady. All right. And here are, I guess these are new things she's working on. She's so busy. I don't know how she does it all. Very creative woman. All right. I love all of these. These are her latest projects. I love this wonderful, I don't know if you'd call it a petal quilt, but I love it. Her black work is exquisite. Look at those wonderful red work pumpkins. And that's an interesting, wonderful block for winter. And look at this box. I love that she keeps all of her hexagons, her English paper piecing hexagons in that. And look at them. Aren't they amazing? And in so many of these, she fussy cuts to create secondary designs. Love it. And that was a wonderful chain. And look at these framed hexes. That is just awesome. So way to go, Miss Bonnie. Love it. All right. Now, let me see. I think we just have, yeah, Miss Charlene's been busy. In fact, I need to find out, did she stay put for the hurricane or did she go to her daughter's? But I was worried. I sent her an email and said, are you okay? And, oops. Well, I thought I put some photos somewhere. Let me see. Hmm. I thought I put some photos, but I don't see them. Mm. Nope. I need to do a better job of going through and cleaning up in here because it's a mess. All right. Well, I'm going to skip mine and go back to y'all. And show and tell. Okay. Come on. Okay. Oh, here's Deb today. Was that it? Yes. Okay. Here. These I failed to get enough of them, but here is, I took another piece of junk mail, used my Sharpie markers, colored on the junk mail, and then took and sliced it so I could make several pages for paper bead making, and then sliced it the other way because all you need is the pretty color, the last 2 inches, and made those. But now wonder what I did with marks. So, oh well. Let's see. Oh, yes, I'm excited about these from Miss Debbie. I'm excited. I love the Storm at Sea that she did this summer because we did a Storm at Sea class and she did her own paper piece, Storm at Sea. It's beautiful. And look at this. She took family doilies. Her husband designed that very elegant tree, and she took and made an artwork. So instead of having the doilies in a box, a cardboard box somewhere, she's got them out where she can enjoy them. Isn't that wonderful? I love that she did that. Okay. And then remember, I was talking about Alex Anderson and the hand embroidery. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? I love the counterpane blanket on that bed. But didn't she do an outstanding job on that? Let's see if we can get it a little bigger. Let's see. Whoa, that was a little too bigger. Oh, look at these designs. Those are beautiful. What a great, great project. Now I want to know, what does she do with it next? That's really cool. So thank you, Miss Debbie. Oh, and that's right, she did a confetti, whoops, too big, confetti quilt herself. Look at her, wonderful. I love the sun. Look at the sun. Look at the fencing. Oh, how great. I love the broom leaning here and the big pumpkins. That's lovely, Deb. Way to go, hon. Y'all are so creative. I just love your talent. Very, very good. Okay, Miss Jody. Oh yes, poor Miss Jody had a tree go down in one of those storms. Look at that. Look at that. Not what you want to see after a storm. And I'm going to make sure I go watch her latest. I was watching Miss Jody sort through her UFOs and I was fascinated. Okay, here is from Miss Joni. She did this version. It's hand embroidered. Look at all of this. Look look at the different fabrics. Look at the hand embroidery on the leaves. I love the way, look how she kind of wove the fabrics in amongst it themselves, that way giving it an appearance of clouds. And look at her French knots on this tree. So is it an apple tree? I wonder. But isn't that beautiful? And then look down here, all of the hand embroidery. Look at the embroidered pumpkins. Look at the vines. And how in the world did she do that? It is just beautiful. Look at all of this. And she used fabric to create shapes and designs. She used hand embroidery. This is just beautiful. She used machine stitching. Look at this. So, way to go, Miss Joni. We give you a big round of applause. Look at the hand embroidered grasses and look all the different textures. I love the torn edge of the fabric because it gives the appearance of grasses like a meadow. So very, very, very good. I mean, that is a wonderful work of art. Looks like she has wrapped it onto a canvas. Brilliant idea. And then look at this one. Are you ready? I mean, this woman is so talented. So I'm going to pull back just, whoops, I don't know if I can pull back that far. Let me go down just a little bit because I want to show you from a distance first. Whoops, 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 whoops. Okay, so here's from a distance. And then, isn't that beautiful? Let's see how she managed to do this. It does look like confetti. Look at this pine tree here. Oh my goodness, look at all. Her confetti has a definitive shape. Look at the, now were the trees already on the fabric or did she put them there? Oh, a path through the woods. Oh, look at, now that looks like hand embroidery. Let me see if I can make it just a touch bigger. And it does look like hand embroidery on those pines. But look at this. Looks like some fabric of leaves, but some confetti. Wow. It looks like she did a great job of cutting out branches and things. making that fabric work for her. Yes, the leaves were from a floral print. Oh, that's fascinating. So do you see what you can do with a little creativity? This is amazing. I love it. Way to go, Miss Joni. Way to go. Bring this back down. Not that far down. Whoops. Let me try one more time. Oh my gosh, that is just so beautiful. Way to go. Unbelievable. I think I would enter that in a show for sure. Gorgeous. Okay, let's see who's next. And don't forget, anyone who would like to send me photos to include in our show and tell, just send them to our time to quilt at twc.com. Okay, we bring this out just a touch. Look at that. I love all those cute partridges. Look at this Betty Boop quilt. How cute is that? Whoops. Oh, oh okay. All right. Oh, I love this one. She said she used fishing line so that this would hang perfectly because you see up top, you see hooks, but how are these two down here? And it was fishing line to connect them. I think that's beautiful. Brilliant, brilliant. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? And she said she used fabric, she used drawing, she used painting, she used paint markers. It's brilliant. I love that female cardinal. Unfortunately, we had a cardinal commit Harry Carey on our front door. It made me sad. And look at this. Isn't that just beautiful? County Courthouse. Beautiful. Close up of her partridge quilt finished. Lovely, lovely quilting. Just beautiful. I mean, this work is exquisite. Thank you, Miss Julie. You are so talented. And where are we going now? Miss Mary. Miss Mary's been busy and sent us. And let me see. Oh, look at this. I love this. This is the English paper piecing that we're both doing. In fact, we're doing it and Miss Lisa's doing it. So here's the English paper piecing. Look at this lovely quilt. She has been teaching a friend to quilt and having a wonderful time. They get together and they work on a quilt. And isn't that wonderful? Sometimes, if you ever want a way to kind of pick up and enjoy something, consider teaching someone because you will end up feeling like you're doing it all. It's new, it becomes new to you as well. So, sometime if you need a pick me up, teach someone. This is her English paper piecing. Another one. Very good. And another of the quilt that she's making when she's teaching the friend to quilt. Lovely. I think that's the last one of these, but thank you, Miss Mary, for sending these photos. We love seeing it. Okay, go back. Well, now here I have a me. Here they are. Yay. Okay, I found a couple. All right. Here is Mark at the beach enjoying himself. I love that picture. He's happy. And then, look, I just love seeing the people out. This is on the inlet side. Everybody fishing, and let's see. And every year when he goes down there, I make my same favorite, perlo, which is a Cajun rice, and hamburger with my mama's favorite dressing. I was trying to think if I had anything else in here, and I don't see it. But I make the rice in a great big cast iron skillet. Boy, do I enjoy it. I eat that the whole week. So now let me see. I'm not, oh, no, I think we showed these already. Whoops, let me go back to me. Nope, I think we've already seen all those back. Okay. Melanie. Oh, yes, I love this. Miss Willow taking a walk in style, I have you know. And I love these blocks. Are these like the day and night blocks? Maybe. Aren't they pretty? Thank you, Miss Melanie. I still owe her an email. Miss Mary, Miss Melanie, I've got to get busy. And Mitty and her wonderful hand decorated postcards. Look at that. You know, with time and love, you can create miniature works of art for your friends. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Love it, Miss Mitty. All right. Anything else? Whoops. Well, let me try this again. Let me try this. Now, I've got to find Mark's things. I think, oh, here, just to show you again, Miss Polly's first thread basket. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. Okay. Now, where are Mark's things he sent me? I don't know what I did with them. I might have to show them to you next week because I put them somewhere, but I'm not sure where. I don't see them here. Deb today? Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Okay. Well, I will make sure to have them for you next time. Let me get my light back on and come back to y'all. And now I will show you how to finish putting things on this quilt. Whoops. Okay. Oops. All right. Let me drop this down. So feel free to send, feel free. Oh, I thought I saw somebody's name, but I'm not. Oh, Michelle the Quilter. That's who I saw. Hi, sweetie. We love seeing you here. And I'm putting in my new thread so we can work on that, finishing this thread basket. And then, come on, come on. Okay. All right. It's all fun and games until the bobbin runs out. That is true. That is true. I'm going to bring you back down here. So as soon as I get this bobbin in, we can finish working on this quilt. Thread vessel. Okay, drop a new bobbin in. All right. And then what did I do with the bobbin cover? Here it is. Okay. We're such creatures of habit. Okay. So I'm going to come along and start this down here. And let's see if I can get, I'm just doing a simple couching. I'm going to even shorten this a little more. But I'm going to do a simple couching of this sari thread yarn. You just kind of zigzag it and you decide. Whoops. Okay, I just felt the foot catch. I'm not able to move it much, and I can see where I caught a thread. So just cut that loose, and off you go. All right. And make sure, the one thing you sometimes will forget to do is give some real shape and interest with the yarn that you're couching. So just make sure, keep it nice and wiggly and you may not wish to put it right up where the bottom of the vessel is going to sit, but it won't, unless it's really thick. It shouldn't bother it too much. Okay, so now I have finished this one. So I'm just going to cut this loose. You have to decide how many different designs you want. You don't want to overdo it. Okay, there's that one. Now I'm going to put some of these. I didn't want it to be too thick, so I'm pulling off a few of these extra threads. All right, so this one, I'm going to come, let me pull a little extra thread. Okay, I'm going to start this one over here, and I'm going to come kind of across the other one. Okay. You just want to make sure you've got enough interest, because the threads themselves, unless you use a really unique thread, I would think it would be a little boring just to see a pot with the thread or a vessel with just the threads. But you know how I am. If a little bit's good, then a whole lot is a whole lot better. Okay. All right, so now I've got these two. Now, let's see. I want to get the white out. I don't want the white in there. And if you wanted to, you could even, okay, so what I'm going to do here is just kind of spread out some of these threads and just kind of do a zigzag to zigzag this stuff down. And maybe, yeah, I'm going to do a little of this at the same time. Basically, it's just sewing everything down. Oops, and don't make sure your foot doesn't get hung up. Now, I'm going to leave this thread here and come across some of this. Oops, don't drag it into the foot. That's the only thing that gets a little tricky, is your foot being an open, big wide open toe. It tends to kind of catch on to threads. So just keep an eye on it and push them out of the way, and off you go again. And like I say, you can always cut them loose if you wish. And now I'm just going to kind of, oops, okay, I'm going to be careful. Yep, get it unhooked, and off you go again. If they get hooked on there, you may have to cut the strings loose, because you may get so far where you can't quite. Yeah, I've got a couple hung in the back. I'm just going to give them a little nip And that'll be fine if they've been held in place. That's great. If not, okay. Okay. Oops, come on. Up. No, come on. Up, no, no. So this one, I'm really doing a lot of decorating. But I think I'm curious to see how it ends up looking when I've got it done. So let me get all these little loose threads. I don't want to get everything tangled. All right. So try to keep it. Oh, I think I'm going to like this. All right. So I'm going to come and do a little bit of this piece of yarn. And then that is going to lead me back into this thread pile so I can, yeah. Now I'm going to go over the thread pile so that way I'm stitching that on too. I can feel a thread that's caught on the back here, so just give it a nip, keep going. Oh, and just to let you know, in about a week, I'm going to be doing a mammogram. So if you haven't had your yearly mammogram, please schedule one and just do it for me, and we'll all be happy. Oops. I'm going to see if this one I don't want to cut. There we go. Sometimes if it's a thicker one, you might not want to cut it. See if you can back your way out. Remember, if you have an open-toed foot, that putting all the threads on is going to take extra time. Oops, what happened here? Come on. Oh, there's a tiny little thread. I couldn't see. Tiny. Okay. Wow. Okay. No. Okay. I'm trying to keep, the only thing about adding all of these pretty things is they do want to get hung up on that open-toed foot. Maybe a closed-toed foot might help a little, but I know you can do it. All right. Let's see. Oh, I love this. Okay, I got myself trapped in here. Let me try to get my way out. Yay. So now, if you're doing an eyelash yarn, like I'm doing here, and you don't want to lose all the fuzzies because they tend to get stitched down, you can sit later on, maybe with the magnifying glass, but what you can do is kind of gently pull them out of the zigzag stitching so that they're still fluffy looking. But I do want to warn you, one of the problems I had with making my pot is that the soluble gets all over the eyelash little ribbons and makes them real stiff. So then you have to come back and kind of separate them from the goopy solvy stuff. And there. All right. So now, all right, I've cut it loose, and this is what I've got for this pot. Now, at this vessel, at this stage, when I'm all done with decorating, which I'm not sure I'm all done yet, I don't know. I think I would at least like to go around the edge. I like doing something on the edge. And it could be a double thickness that you twist a little bit and then couch on the edge, because I've done it with these and I feel like it just gives the pot a neater finish. I take either a ribbon or a piece of yarn and go right around the edge. Then once all of that is done, then is then I'll come in and take and sew beads. Now, when you sew beads, put a bead where there's plenty of fabric or ribbon or something to go through. And so you would, in fact, I will go ahead and show you. Where did I put my needle? In my basket, I think. Yep, here's my needle. I'm using a between needle, a quilting needle, and it's a between because it's so tiny and it goes through most beads. So what I do on this end, there's a couple different ways you can do it. I'm going to put a huge knot here. So I wind it like 8, 9 times, put a big knot on this end. Then I'm going to come in and see which bead I want to use. And I think for right now, it'll help you see it. I'm going to get one of these whitish beads with a blue center. Okay, so I'm going to hold the bead. I'm going to come underneath and choose a place where there's a lot so that the knot, like a thick piece of yarn, so the knot won't come loose and come all the way through. I'm going to bring you down more to see. Okay, so here my needle is coming up right here. Then I will put the bead on the needle. Then I'm going to go back down in through a lot of fabric, because if you just go through a sparse area, the knot will let loose. Now, if you want to put beads on a sparse area, what I would do is leave a tail. When you first put the needle in, leave a tail underneath. Then come up, put your bead on, go back down and tie it. Tie the two ends into a knot. You have to do something to make sure it's really anchored. Okay, and I found, okay, so now I've come up and gone through it the second time. I'm going to go down through a very densely sewn area so I won't lose the knot. Push it down, and then I'm going to tie another big knot right there. And so I'm going to take turns. I love some of these little kind of mercury glass beads. I forget exactly what they're called, but I will do beads all around this. Now, I'm not going to cut this loose right now. I thought I would, but I want to make it a little bigger because it's really pretty. And so I want to make it a little bigger. But let's say I was done. I try to first, I would make sure all of the sewing machine work is done. It's sometimes tricky to get out from under your presser foot. Just make sure your needle is up high enough, and then lift that presser foot as high as it will go and pull it out. But I'm just tightening this back a little again. Okay. Now, but I'm going to make this bigger. Now you see what the other side, kind of boring compared to the pretty side. I've got this, I'm going to just knot off the thread from that beadwork and put a nice big knot. And if you have to, knot through some of the tangled threads on the back. So, okay. So you'll see where, let me see, where did I knot it? Right whoops, right there, whoop, right there. See that knot? So it's through a very dense part. And here is the bead on the front. So I'm going to do all different. I like putting plenty of beads. As you see in this one, I put some of these tube beads, and then I did a couple rows of the gold and copper beads. So but I'm going to make this a little bigger. I'm going to come out about another inch and a half to make this, because understand that the size you make it, once you cut it loose, when it's all done and beat it, I beat it while it's still on here, much easier to work with. And then once all the beading and all of the thread work and the yarn work is on here, then I cut it out and cut it right close to the last stitching that there is. Not cutting those threads, but cut close to them. Then I take a bowl of warm water. I push the piece into the water. I rub it just a little bit, okay? And then that water you just wash out of that bowl. And then after I have rinsed the fabric, and I kind of squeeze it a little bit, your hands will feel slimy, but that's okay. And then for this one, since it's not going to be very big, I would probably use this as the mold, or maybe this, because it gives it a little smoother lid, on a towel, and you lay it over. And at that point, you can kind of decide, let me get this one. You can decide where you want the little ruffly edge or how you want it. Whatever mold you put it on, you could have something that's more straight. You could have something that's taller, that's lower. This one had a much wider drying form that I put it on. But you put it on like this, and then you make sure it looks even and your edges are good. And then you leave it until the next morning when it should be dry. And you can always dry it a little faster by pointing a fan at it, but leave it be until it's dry. When it's fully dry, if you haven't washed out too much of the solvay, the stabilizer, then it should be nice and firm like this one. So don't wash out too much. This one to me is a little too soft. And I've got to go back now and either put some fabric stiffener on it or spray it some more with an acrylic sealer that I have. That definitely will stiffen it up. I'll just get in and spray. It would be hard at this stage to brush on, but you could brush on a fabric stiffener, thick starch, or even white glue and water would stiffen it. So now back to this one just to show you. And, I might try to find some sequins to use on here. But when it comes to doing the edge, I'm definitely going to run a double. And I'll just take this and measure how much I need to go around, double it over, and then give it a little twist, and then couch this to the edge. And that'll give a really firm, nice, fancy edge to it. But I'm going to finish. This is coming out so well. I love all the threads I put on there. I haven't used this yet. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do the lace or not. I might save this for our undersea thing. But I've even got this. And what you can do is kind of take it and lay it on there and see how it looks and decide if it's something you want to put on or not. See it like this? Now, You could sew this on by hand too. If you're nervous about couching it, you can sew it on by hand. So this is, I'll show you this basket next week. I didn't get it started early enough. I was going to show you how I cut it loose and put it in the water, but just put it in the water and kind of swish it a little and then kind of give it gentle squeeze, then come put it on the form. Don't actually wash it or don't scrub it at all because you'll take off too much of the solvay. Oh, I hope, I'm going to show you with some light behind it. I think it'll be, whoops, let me get it in the light. But let me try to bring you up. And I want to kind of show you what it's going to look like. So, see, isn't that neat? So it's definitely worth me doing a little bit more work on. So I hope that that gives you an idea. Please thank Polly Thompson for showing me this because I would not have been successful. The little bit that I was first trying, I was fed up with. So please thank Polly for us. And yeah, it's coming along really pretty. So I can't wait to see. And this one I made because it's fall. And I thought, what a pretty pot for fall. And actually, these two together on the table, they'll look really nice. So if you make them stiff enough, you could put candy in this one. So I'm going to make sure to get those finished. This blue one's going to be beautiful. And you know what? My Christmas colors are blue. So that would be pretty on the table at Christmas. So I'm going to keep it going because I'm really liking how it looks. So that's wonderful. All right. Any questions you have that you might want to ask? Any questions? And then don't forget, just when you work with different beads, especially seed beads, use the thinnest needle that you can find if you don't have a bead needle. It's great when you have a bead needle, but you might not. All right, any questions, please? I'm going to glance back through. Don't you love Betty's flowers? She does such a good job. All right, so... Oh, how about a crochet basket or bowl? And you could probably crochet a circle, soak it in starch, okay? Soak it in starch or fabric thickening liquid, drape it over something, let it dry. Yes, that's a great idea, Miss Marshall. Marsha, great idea. Great, great, great. Any other question? So, okay. Oh, thank you. I'm getting a little better. Polly, you were such a good teacher, and you kept saying little circles, and you're right, because if you try to get going too many different ways, it's hard to keep them together. And then the more you decorate them, then the sturdier they are also. But Polly, thank you from the bottom of my heart. She brought all her supplies over here, drove all the way here, which is probably about 25 minutes, drove all the way here to teach me. Then I wasn't listening as good as I could have. Ooh, gold or silver ornaments in the bowls. What a beautiful idea, Mary. I love that. In fact, I could even put little silver beads on this blue. Wouldn't that be pretty too? Ooh, I might run up and grab some silver beads. So, it's just fun to play. It's just fun to play. And this is how we learn exciting new things. And there's something for everyone. And as long as you're learning new techniques and new skills and new ideas, you're continuing to keep all of those brain synapses and things connecting. It's a good thing for your heart, your soul, and your mind. So thank you, Miss Polly. You are the best. So, okay, well, I think I'm going to say goodbye. I think I'm getting tired now. But I missed you last week, and I'm sorry again that I had that headache and just started feeling sick. And sure enough, oh, I didn't tell you this. So that was Sunday, Mark came home, Sunday evening. And I told him, tomorrow I'm going to sleep and stay in the bed until I can't sleep anymore. I slept until 5:30 at night, in the evening. 5:30 from the night before all the way through to 5:30. I was sleep deprived. So, and thank goodness, because I did get a little virus this week, but I think it wasn't as bad because I really tried to sleep. So take good care of yourself. I did. You know, when he's not here, I hear every noise, and it's like, do I have everything locked? Everything okay? But I'm so glad he went because it was really good for him. Oh, he is retiring. December 28th. He got the retirement bonus thing he put in for. So, what do you think? Oh my goodness, this is going to be a whole new stage of life. All right, everybody. But he'll be all done with Pepsi, and he can never go back to work for him. It's like, if we give you this deal, that's it. Bye-bye. So I don't think his supervisor was very happy because he really, likes Mark and depends on him. But anyway. All right, everybody. Take good care. Oh, Mary, I missed you. I loved your email. I don't think I wrote back to you, but I loved it. So take care of yourself. I'm going to make sure to take a walk today. I've got a retreat in 3 weeks. I've got to get in better shape. So take good care. Mwah. Go out and walk while the weather's cool and the leaves are beautiful. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, y'all. Bye-bye, Michelle the Quilter. It is so good to see you again. Y'all are the best. Yep. I love it. Bye-bye, everybody.